Hey Fitheads, today we have the two owners of Phoenix Effect Gym, which is the smartest gym I've ever had the privilege of going to. And when I say smart, it's not just that they're nerdy or anything, because you will get strong and you will get very cardiovascularly fit. They're just so smart about their programming and challenging you in very different ways that it's fantastic to turn you into an athlete.
Yeah, they take the idea of taking a season to focus on a sport, and they take all the cool physical stuff from that sport and translate it to the season so your body has time not only to adapt to this, but to heal from that. I mean, it's so cool. I've never heard of something like that. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it was great to hear their philosophy. And also they're hilarious, so stay tuned.
Welcome to Total Fitheads.
Serious fitness for not so serious people.
Hey Fitheads, and hey Beth and Kristin, welcome. We have Phoenix Effect today. So good to see you guys.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah, so good to see you too.
It's been forever since we pumped iron together.
What, like 20 years? 30?
At least.
We're aging so well.
It's all that fitness keeping us healthy. Although I feel bad saying pumped iron because that's not what you guys do. Can we give the Fitheads a background on just what the Phoenix Effect philosophy is?
You go for it.
All right. Well, we're truly a strength and conditioning gym. So what our gym does is we do cycles of strength and conditioning training, and we train like a different sport every 6 weeks or so. So you get really, really interesting athletic conditioning and strength work in a fun group setting. And we also do personal training and nutrition coaching. We take a really holistic approach to fitness and transformation.
Awesome. I love it. I actually didn't know that about the like sports periodization. Is that what you would call it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is still kind of like new to me. I know that it's not a recent buzzword, but I've just been recently introduced to it after doing the same thing over and over again for all of my life. So yeah, like what is your philosophy on that? Like how often are you changing things up, and like how do you choose, you know?
Well, basically, we look at a year. Well, first of all, the premise is like you're in your body all the time, right? And so a general tenet of fitness and of, I guess, like science and living organisms is that the organism adapts to stimulus. That's how we get stronger or, more shredded or whatever it is. And so that stimulus has to change over time, or else there's nothing to adapt to, right? So that's when we get plateaus, or worse, we get like repetitive training or repetitive use injuries. So you always have to be changing things in like a linear, sustainable, and logical way. And so what we do is we look at like a year. This is going to be a year of us at the Phoenix Effect being in our bodies. So we look then at like, okay, winter sports. Let's look at winter sports. Let's look at how they train. So in the past, during winters, we've done hockey cycles, basketball cycles, and clearly these sports have a lot in common. You have to be able to move in different planes of movement. You have to do it quickly. But so a hockey player probably doesn't need to do a ton of bench pressing, but a basketball player does. So what we do for a given 6 to 8 week cycle, and they kind of all map together, right, in a linear order, is we look at, okay, these are the movements primarily these athletes are doing. These are the transfers into the weight room. So these are like the 2 or 3 big barbell lifts that they work on. And they generally need to be doing like max strength. So we need to work towards a 1 rep max, or we need to be working on the other end of the spectrum in muscle endurance. Like we need to be able to figure out how heavy can I front squat for 12, right? And we need to be working on that. And then from there, we look at the accessory movements and the corrective movements that would help just the normal person, the not super professional athlete, get more proficient at the big movements like the bench press or like the squat, and we kind of fill in the blanks from there. So that could mean most people, our glutes are like asleep because we're sitting on them. especially since March 15th or whatever, like a lot more. So we have to get really clever at different ways for our bodies to adapt to stimulus of, hey, your glutes actually need to fire during this. And then can we integrate glutes with other parts of the body in this format and that format and that format?
Right. And then also too, like, you know, this sounds really complicated, but what we do is we'll do like a sport that's more strength oriented, and then we'll maybe do another sport that's more strength oriented, and we'll put those cycles together, and then we'll go into more muscular endurance, right? So we might have done like a football cycle, and then after that we'll do a swimming cycle, which is going to be higher rep and different movements. And what that does over time is make it so people do not plateau, and you're always adapting and getting better. Yeah. You're training like a real athlete.
It's so complex, like how much you can change and do with your body. And like I was just under the impression, like, yeah, you have to like keep adapting. So I add more weight, and now it's different today because I'm squatting, but there's 5 more pounds. And like I recognize that like I've definitely been doing it wrong for a while. I mean, just the fact that like my knees hurt now.
Well, that's the whole idea of like periodization that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So you know, if you're always just going heavier and working on, you know, strength reps of like 2 to 6, like eventually you're going to get hurt or you're going to plateau. But if you take a break from that and you do more muscular endurance, more accessory work, and then you go back to the strength work, then you actually get stronger and you look better.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it seems like so overwhelming, and I'm like, oh wait, no, it's not. I could just go to Phoenix Effect and then know what I should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many like variables to play with when even designing like one day's workout, right? You got this, you're definitely going to get bigger biceps, especially in these weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your favorite sport periodization workout? Sport period. What's your favorite sport period?
My favorite cycle that we've ever done has been swimming, but I was a competitive swimmer, so I loved the movement.
Yeah,
I love this cycle. It was so awesome, and everybody just had like really sexy lats and upper bodies, and just so nice.
I mean, I didn't grow up playing sports. Like, I'm a classically trained ballerina. There's no need
That's not a
for
sport?
ballet cycle.
Yeah.
Well, not
What?
like
How is there no need? What? Long, lean legs. That's what I need.
You can get that through so many other modalities that don't chronically tell you to stand in a weird, not human friendly position, which is what ballet basically is. And I can say that because I still stand like that position. She does. I'm not paying attention.
I've seen it.
And walk in it, or run in it. So for me, though,
but not dancing it. Definitely not dancing that.
Definitely not a dancer. When I look at all of the sports we're gonna like cover, and I look at like the top collegiate teams, like the Olympic teams, if applicable, the top performing, I don't know, whatever, however you classify football. But football is actually my favorite one to adapt and then as an athlete actually be in, because it's this beautiful, disgusting combination of lifting really heavily and quickly, like fast twitch movements, and then doing something bananas like a sled push for like 3 laps.
Yeah, we had a yoke and a sled push for that cycle. Yeah. Kristin likes the really heavy shit.
Yeah.
And I like the endurance. Go figure.
Well, football is like such a mix of like explosion and like heavy. It's just it's the worst of all worlds, so it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Are you guys tackling each other in the gym too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
so important.
Especially during like a football cycle, but otherwise, yes.
But it's good though, because you know everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses, and like I might not like the football cycle, and so I wouldn't naturally gravitate towards that if I weren't coming to the gym and doing those workouts. I think that's a really beautiful thing to have those different styles of training, because we naturally gravitate towards what we're good at. You know, I think if
we're already good at.
Yeah, I think if Kristin had her way, she would just like lift heavy and like smash things around in very few reps all the time. And I would just be doing like lots of long and lean swimming stuff. And we're better for training our bodies in different ways and periodizing our training.
Sure. I do want to go back to the ballet thing. As a former ballerina and leading question, do you think though that it helped you be a better Olympic lifter because of like what is kinesthesia or proprioception? Like you can know where your body is in space better?
I mean, like, you know, baseline athletic abilities, I think are absolutely enhanced, especially because I started ballet when I was 2.5. So, you know, since that age, I've had to be aware of exactly where all parts of my body are, where I'm facing, where I'm about to face. How to keep balance is very basic and very fundamental to ballet, especially when you're like changing your direction. Yeah, I mean, it creates, I'm, you know, joking in that it makes you stand funny, but not really. It does create a lot of kind of systematic imbalances throughout especially the lower body, and some kind of injuries that, you know, ballet trains you. All those movies are like barely hyperbolic, like Center Stage, Black Swan. Like their
coach has a cane.
I'm pretty sure I did get Black Swan like in the late 90s.
Is that a verb?
It's a transitive verb. Yeah. But I mean, because basically it tells you like, you know, you may be in pain, but no one cares. And you have to smile. You can't do this performance. The judges are not going to like it if like one of you is frowning. Yeah. So you have to kind of push past pain, which I guess in some ways is okay. But as a coping mechanism, as an athlete, as you age, it's not the best because pain is supposed to teach us what's happening if there's a deficiency in a movement. And over time, if you ignore that, you know, everything, it's a feedback loop. Like you don't really improve. You can kind of just set yourself up for additional injury. But on the other side, yeah, it definitely like I have control over changing directions really well. I can jump really well. And like my abs know what to do to keep my spine safe, even, you know, under hundreds of pounds of pressure. So that definitely helps. And I definitely use a lot of the more productive accessory work we did in ballet and a little bit in gymnastics in how we train just kind of baseline movements, like body weight movements and ab movements for our athletes. And that's kind of everywhere. Like you'll always see a hollow body of some kind throughout our cycles because it's literally the safest way to get like the low deep abdominals to engage and protect you.
Interesting. Okay, you also mentioned something earlier when you were talking about just like the Phoenix effect philosophy, which is different planes of motion. And I would love for you guys to touch on that because there's like another popular fitness group out there that is also variety of movements like squatting and wall balls and thrusters and
the bar method.
Yeah, that's it. So I would love to hear your ideas on planes of motion.
Okay, so planes of motion, right? In a nutshell, your body can move in 3 different planes of motion.
What?
Right? Yes, it's crazy,
yeah,
right?
So thrusters and wall balls. That's it.
Thrusters and wall balls. You have the sagittal
like
plane,
like this,
right? Your sagittal plane, which is basically like
forward and back.
Yeah, forward and back. You have the frontal plane, which is side to side, and then you have the transversal plane, which is twisting, right? And so the
body was designed to do all 3.
Yeah.
All the time, every day.
So any good fitness program is going to touch on making you strong in 3 planes of motion. Most people get hurt. You know, you hear people when they bend down to like pick up their dog or something and they throw their back out. It's because they haven't probably trained the transverse and frontal planes of motion, right? And so that fun fitness craze that you so mentioned in the past, CrossFit. The issue with
that's
CrossFit,
it.
I've never. The issue with CrossFit that
she's not familiar.
All right.
Fitheads, I'm leading them because I know their feelings on CrossFit, and I love how passionate they are about it.
I mean, look, I like a lot of the movements that they do in CrossFit. The only issue is that it's in one plane of motion: a squat, a deadlift, a push press, a wall ball. It's all in the sagittal plane of motion, right? So you're not twisting, you're not moving side to side. You're missing out on really amazing movements that make your body strong and sound and sexy.
Yes.
I can see Max's gears turning. He's like, wait a minute. It's right.
Yeah.
So it's more than just a
that's
push-up.
funny.
Hold on.
There's so many more things than push-ups. You can also do push-ups on one leg and get a little bit of anti-rotation help, which would then help you move better in those other planes. But that's just one idea. As I mentioned earlier, when it comes to like designing a comprehensive program, or even like this is just today, there are a lot of variables. And when you get your CrossFit certification, like we did out of curiosity, like 5 years ago, we'll tell you about the state in which we took that test. I can't. But they only give you 10 factors to play with, and none of them are planes of motion. None of them have anything to do with anatomy or kinesiology. Right. They're all like, oh, length of workout. If we did barbells versus gymnastics, if we did monostructural, so like rowing, biking, sprinting versus something like it, just none of it actually, if you play with any of those factors, you could push out just 3 different workouts for an entire year. And that could be enough to satisfy the like kind of the building blocks that they train you to build workouts and programs.
I mean,
from.
Okay, so lower level here, CrossFit teaches you how to program, not based on the movement pattern of the day. So like when we make our workouts, like this cycle, for example, we have an upper body vertical day where we do vertical pushing and pulling. Then we have a lower body day that's more sagittal plane motion. Then the next day we have an upper body horizontal pushing and pulling. So like benching, rowing, bent over rows, things like that. And then we have another lower body day after that, right? But the issue with CrossFit is that you could be doing, one day is long conditioning, one day might be short conditioning, one day might be gymnastics focused. And that's the lens that they're viewing things through. And they're not thinking, oh, is this person squatting and pressing overhead every day? No, it doesn't matter, because this is how they put their programs, or they suggest how the programs are put together. I've seen some CrossFits do it well, where they've, had prior fitness experience and they've programmed really well and they balance out the movement patterns. It's not to say that you can't do that with CrossFit and the movement.
You just have to be you have to be incorporating tools outside of CrossFit to do that.
Yeah,
is my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
you're saying that your level 1 didn't qualify you to actually program?
No.
So weird.
I mean, that's a big issue with fitness in general is, you can sign up for a certification over a weekend and then all of a sudden you're an expert. It takes years and years of learning and studying and learning more to get good at it.
Yeah, this was on my list of things I wanted to ask you guys about, because you have like a ton of certifications, and like, what do you think is the best? Like, it's interesting that there are other certifications out there that are as fast as CrossFit too. I would just love to hear like your thoughts on all of that in general.
I mean, sure. So like fitness itself in the United States is very decentralized, right? There are some people who go and get their master's in kinesiology and they learn lots of exercise science and they're highly qualified, right? And then you can also, take a 3 to 6 month course and get a CPT, which is a certified personal trainer. We both have that. But there's all these different certifying bodies that you can get different specialty certifications from. And your trainer is only as good as, what they've chosen to study and what kind of experience they've had and who they've worked with. So it's really, the consumer really doesn't know what they're getting.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, we have tons, we've acquired, it's like little Girl Scout badges. We've gotten lots of badges over the years. I have like precision nutrition, which is a great nutrition certification. I have a bunch of different certifications from NASM, which is National Academy of Sports Medicine. So does Kristin. Kristin has like, you have the corrective exercise one. You like that a lot. I have performance enhancement specialist, MMA conditioning specialist, but we've been in the game for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the list on your website's insane. Do you ever come across like conflicting things where one certification tells you like it's definitely this, and then this other certification is like, nope, it's definitely the opposite?
I mean, I started going down the path to get my CSCS, but like a fifth of the way into the book, I was like, honestly, a lot of this is horseshit, and I would never ever make people do this. The thing too is like a lot of these, the curriculum around which a given certification is made isn't necessarily updated all the time.
Mm-mm.
It's not like they're taking like, this is our annual study on this specific topic and applying it. It's just like, I'll put it this way, the CSCS, a lot of their recommendations, and the CSCS is like for training professional athletes, so extremely high stakes, extremely specialized. Their solution for a lot of problems is putting your client on a pec deck, like literally. So that's that machine, which
but this
You don't have one at Phoenix Effect?
it does.
No.
Not yet.
But I mean, but that's the issue. It's not like you're going to school to, master a subject. Like CrossFit, like we talked about before, didn't have anything on anatomy and kinesiology, right? And I think that's very important to understand what each joint does and how joints work in systems. And you don't really get that on a lot of certifications. So it's important to study lots of things, learn, work with people, learn by doing, and also not be afraid to say, hey, I was wrong. This didn't work.
Yeah.
And reflect and keep a list of lessons learned.
Because I mean, just like in a lot of studies, fitness, what you're attempting to do is theoretical until you do it.
Yeah. And it's changing all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at like NASM, the CPT right now, it's very different than when I got it 10 years ago, 11 years ago. 11 years ago, they were saying, do a chest press on a stability ball, and like a brand new person, like, and you're just like, really? And it's a totally different certification now.
Yeah.
Because we're learning and we're evolving. Well, some of fitness is, right? Some of fitness is, and then the other part of fitness is just this fad fitness where everybody's like, oh, let's just do this. Let's do, circuits of 1 minute because this sounds good. And then let's do a couple of these exercises because they make you sweat, and then people sweat. And then if they sweat, they feel like they did something and they feel a burn in their muscle, and therefore I'm going to make money. And that's, kind of how fitness has become.
Interesting. Yeah.
Which is scary too, because a lot of it it's so like, I think people feel like, oh, I went to gym class in grade school, I know what fitness is. But it's like, it's dangerous, especially if you get packing on heavier weight. Like, I feel like people don't quite take the the weight of it when they're trying new stuff.
The gravity.
The gravity. That was one of the worst things
Sorry.
when I went to, not to like out myself, but I went to a few CrossFit classes, and they didn't teach us anything. They were like, just pick it up as fast, as hard as you can. And I was like, I've had coaching on this, I know how to do it, but that lady does, she has no idea, and she's gonna like blow her knees out in 2 seconds. And then spoilers, she stopped coming to class for a while. So
yeah, it does seem like you guys are really aiming to protect your clients and do it in the right way. Maybe it's just because you were beat up by ballet you had to learn it.
Like, there's definitely like a pervasive layer of empathy in my programming and coaching, but also like, you only get one body and you only get one spine. Like, that is for sure. And the thing is, when you hurt that, you're going to be benched for a while.
Yep.
Which isn't good for the spirit. It's not good for your fitness, let alone health. And it's also not good for any gym's business model.
Right.
Yeah, I remember I've tested my 1RM with you guys at your gym, my deadlift. And I remember there was this one lift where I like got it off the ground and Kristin, you were like, nope, drop it. Like I was lifting it, but it was very clear that I should not have been. And I probably would have hurt myself. And you're like, don't push through it. And I can imagine other trainers just being like, you got this, go.
Go, round
Yeah,
that
well,
back.
think about it.
Do
Like,
it.
yeah, because CrossFit, a lot of it, at bad CrossFits is task completion. How fast can I get from point A to point B and do the reps and do the thing and then beat everyone else and screw my form?
Yeah, and I have a personality that like really feeds into that.
I do too. I did CrossFit, like 5 years ago, and I got very, very injured, and I had 2 herniated discs in my back, and I couldn't lift for 6 months because my big old ego was like, yeah.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
It was. It was.
Can we do another episode with just your ego?
Yeah, just my ego. It's great.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, actually, last time we were hanging out, you were just out of a leg brace, was it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I broke my foot. That was fun.
Jeez. Yeah, how has your injury journey been coming back from that? Because I know it was rough, but you seem to be thriving.
Yeah,
You got so good at upper body work.
I got so good at upper body work. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I stepped on the ground funny, and I had a fracture in my foot, so I couldn't walk for like 2 months. And during that time, this was about 3 years ago, actually. Yeah. During that time, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get so good at upper body movements. And I got really great at pull-ups and ring dips, and it was awesome. And I just kind of hopped around on my boot. I'm totally back to normal now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like,
Did you have that scooter? Did you have that scooter thing where, do you know what I'm talking about?
No. I had an iWalk, which was even better. It was like a little pirate leg, and you can like go up and down the stairs with it.
Cool.
And
you'd bend your knee in half.
Yeah.
And then like your knee would be resting on this peg.
Peg.
They call it.
Yeah, it was great. And at the time too, I was like really into wearing like camouflage, and I had like an American flag bandana. And I remember we were in like, Palm Springs for Kristin's birthday, and like
this connection's unstable.
Yeah, and people were thanking me for my service. I was like, no, I'm just
my deadlift service. Yes.
Like this super kind old man went up to her and was like, Gulf War.
I was like, hurt myself in the park.
That's really funny.
Don't
She
worry about
stepped funny. Not during combat.
Not during combat.
Kristin, I want to talk about this. Are you still eating 3,000 calories a day?
Yes.
That's nutso. Yeah.
Oh.
Max is like, what the?
Nice.
Incredible.
I mean, my nutrition has gotten kind of weird with the situation we've been in since March, the quarantine. I don't know if you guys know, but the quarantine.
That sounds familiar.
Is this, are you doing it too? My situation's gotten weird. So generally I eat what I think the scientists call a ton, and I eat it every 2 to 3 hours.
She's like 120 pounds and 5'1", by the way.
I think I'm a little bit less than 120 right now.
Okay,
yeah.
Of course you are.
Of course.
Yeah, but things have gotten weird.
Sure.
Like normally I eat like lots of fish, raw vegetables, berries, lots of meat, raw if possible, nuts. I eat like a bear.
Raw meat?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like a bear?
Possible. But it has to be at a restaurant or else, you only get one body, as someone said. I mean, yeah, no, I still eat a lot, but since quarantine, weird things have just like all of a sudden been in my digestive tract, like Doritos, pizza, Diet Coke, like weird stuff. I don't know where it came from.
They just jumped
all of a sudden, like, oh my God.
We joke that she has a Coke problem now because she drinks. Don't
Has it
forget-
affected you? I feel like you could just eat whatever and just like plow through it and turn it into muscle and then be 120 or less than.
I think I'm basically the same. I will say, oh yeah, and we accidentally keep ordering single serve Easy Mac. And I keep eating it. So
That Amazon
Ordering.
subscription, you can't find the cancel button.
We ran into a troll under a bridge and we accidentally solved his riddles too quickly, and now it just keeps coming. But
You're crossed to bear. You're
I
cursed.
think that I mean I do basically the same workouts I've always been doing, which are basically like our lift classes. So I mostly just lift and sometimes quickly. But I will say I definitely, with this new advent of adding other supplements into my diet, I definitely feel a little more inflamed on days. You know, like if we order like froyo, the next day I'm like, my joints don't feel as amazingly lubricated as normal, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely feel different when I'm not eating those things. But nutrition's been mostly the same.
There's been a lot of whiskey that's happened.
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
That's been another change.
Before this, I didn't
New
really
supplement.
it's a nighttime supplement. I didn't really drink before this, but now we have a Jameson subscription is what keeps happening.
Oh God.
Nice.
Yeah, but you definitely notice when you eat clean versus when you don't. Like it's notable.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I mostly eat clean. It's just these other things keep happening on top
Yeah,
of it.
it's so crazy.
I still eat like, 4 or more normal clean meals a day.
Yeah.
They're
And
just
then whiskey over it.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Whiskey's a fifth meal.
Yeah.
it
Exactly,
is.
exactly.
It was dessert last night, so.
So your joints hurt. Do you feel stronger or weaker after eating certain stuff? I remember when I used to eat, when I used to crush a pizza, I'd feel terrible. But then the next day at the gym, I could put up a lot of weight, not very fast, and not for a long time. But one rep was way higher than normal.
Yeah, I mean, I like to stack my carbs around my workouts anyway. So the quantity around a workout for me isn't necessarily changing. It's more like the quality. But I will notice, honestly, if I eat sushi or something like that, I feel like a god, like for 24 hours in and out of the gym. Like I just feel like my brain feels more alert. I'm not having to take any digestive enzymes because I'm actually sensitive to a lot of things, but not rice or raw fish. And I can lift more quickly and more heavily, like if I eat like basically greens in sushi.
Solid.
Superfood.
Well, and you talk about like eating around your workouts and eating often, like you think nutrient timing is important.
Yeah.
And so what is it, like you care about that like protein window deal, or like the amount of protein you can absorb in one sitting? Like what are you focusing on?
I try to eat around 20 or more grams, but not more than like 30 something of protein every time I eat, every feeding. And every feeding is like every 2 to 3 hours. After my workout, I always take a gainer shake.
It's her sad cow protein. That's what I call it.
I started
like-
doing that because of you.
You have the
Yeah.
sad cow protein? It's like the non-organic beef protein.
Yeah, the exact company that you're talking about. I mean, I added 4 pounds of muscle because I decided that I was bulking because of you. It helped.
See? No, it's super important because, carbs and protein help us grow muscle mass. And every year you're older, that's harder to do. So nutrition becomes, I think, increasingly important, mapped against like your workout regimen.
Yeah.
You eat real food after you work out.
I eat real food.
Which is insane. She
Yeah.
gets in a car and drives and eats. And I'm like, no, before I get into my car, I am slamming this shake or I'll be a terrible person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go back and forth on that. And Max and I have actually been doing like glucose monitoring, and like the gainer shakes will make me like jump up high
Yep.
on blood glucose, but also I think that's a good thing if you want to like go into anabolic, or instead of, you know, you want insulin so your body starts storing it. So I don't know, still trying to figure it out.
My worst was Popeyes. I don't know if I told you that, Spags.
Oh yeah.
We got Popeyes and my thing spiked. It was like off the graph. They were like, "Are you alive? Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. I'm just
What
sleeping
did
on
you
the
get
couch
from
now."
Popeyes?
I got 2 5-piece tender meals.
Wow.
It was
And
great.
there's like enough glucose in it that it did it.
Did you get condiments?
Well, I got some, but I have a drawer at home. Not to be too, we're getting real personal here.
Popeyes drawer.
Me too.
We did.
We have like
I was just wondering if it was
condiment
like the
chest or
actual
whatever.
chicken or like ketchup.
No, I
or
think it was ketchup, ranch, Thousand Island, honey mustard. I mean, I don't know. I was just doing, you know, you just go around and do whatever you want. But I was very proud of myself.
Nutso. Yeah, I imagine like your eating is different than what you train your clients, right? Like you say you do nutrition coaching. Is everyone that goes to Phoenix Effect just having 3,000 calories?
No. So we actually aren't doing the nutrition coaching. We have 2 dedicated nutrition coaches that are amazing.
Oh, cool.
And our nutrition coaching focuses more on psychology and habit formation, right? Because it's really, really, really hard to outtrain a bad mindset. If you think that, you know, say you had an overbearing mother who said that you were fat as you grew up, right? And then you internalize that, you can't really outtrain a bad mindset that says you're not worth it and that you can't ever have a body that you like. So it's a lot of that. And then it's a lot of finding specific solutions that work with people's lifestyles. So we have some clients who do intermittent fasting. We have some clients who eat more of a ketogenic diet. We have, you know, clients who eat like Kristin. We have vegans, vegetarians. Nutrition is such an individual thing.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. God. Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, one person won't work for someone else.
And you just you have to kind of play around with it and get curious. You know, like I love that you're doing glucose monitoring.
Yeah, that's
like
so cool.
What a fun science experiment.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, and it's taught me that everything is like should be personalized. And like I ate a banana and like went diabetic, and Max was like perfectly fine, like sustained energy, and you can see it happening on a graph. So you
cool.
guys already intuitively know that and are finding what works for your clients without having to see it on a graph. Do you have any transformation stories where people have like, whether it's like emotional or actual physical, like come to you and then like made a big difference?
Oh yeah, I mean, just over quarantine, we had an athlete who, like, you know, she's works for herself. She's just a badass girl, and she really didn't think that she could ever achieve the body that she wanted. So she set like an initial goal, like, look, I just want to lose like 5 pounds and feel better, you know, that like feel better goal, right? And then she did that, and then she lost, you know, another 10 pounds, and then she lost another 15 pounds. And this happened over the period of like, I want to say like 10 weeks. Was Catherine. She was so great. Yeah. And did that all through Zooms and just working with our nutrition coaching. And that's, you know, awesome, because a lot of people during quarantine, they just said, you know what, they make every is a decision, so they believe it's not possible, so they make the decision to make it not possible. And she completely changed her mindset and was extremely successful.
That's super cool. Yeah, tell us about the Zooms. You guys, well, you went from being closed to being open to being closed again. So like, what is Phoenix Effect doing during lockdown?
Yeah, okay, well, so we're doing a hybrid model right now. So you can either take classes outside in our garden party parking lot area, which is really fun.
Very luxurious.
We're allowed to do outside classes as of today, you know. In Los Angeles, we don't know if that's going to change, but so everything has to be outdoors. So we're still running that outside. But we also, when quarantine happened, we had to pivot really fast. And make some really cool programs.
That pivoting is you move in the transverse plane, which we're amazing at.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so we came up with some cool stuff. We took basically what we did in the studio and we made a lifting program, but we kind of pulled from, you know, a lot of the stuff that professional football's been doing lately with bands. So we did a band-based strength program with some sandbag work for our lifting program for the in-house, at-home workouters. So we have live Zooms. And then everything that we do on Zoom, we have an on-demand component too. So if you can't make the classes,
pre-recorded videos.
Yeah, you can see the workout and do the workout. And then we have conditioning.
With like, I think just a really amazing demonstrator. Like I think the coach in those videos just like really gets it.
Yeah, you did a good job.
And sees you pre-recording it.
Yeah. But no, we're running a couple classes online every day and a couple classes in studio.
We have pre-recorded conditioning workouts too.
Like do along with you interval training workouts.
We're in all of them.
Yeah. So
Max, you need this.
Yeah. I'm doing a sandbag and she's doing dumbbells. So we try to make it really accessible. And we also tried to get, you know, equipment that people had access to. Right? Because you can get sandbags now. You can get band kits, no problem. Cool. But dumbbells, good luck finding them before October.
Yeah. They're worth their weight in like gold.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts. I've seen this. It used to be like $1 a pound or something, and now it's something way more than that. Unreasonable.
Yeah. But I mean, think about like even like, and people are getting crazy results with this stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
people look hot.
Like we had one guy who had a lot of shoulder issues before, and then when he came back into the studio after doing 2 months of bands, it was completely healed.
Yeah.
And he was just as strong, if not stronger than before.
Yeah. People are like, oh my God, your shoulders. He's like, what do you mean? And they're like, they're really hot. Like,
yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
It's funny because every time, historically, classically, bands are like for mobility stuff more than anything else. Pitchers would use those stuff, it's just rotator cuffs.
Yeah, like
I think people are really sort of realizing that you can use it for just thicker bands,
Yeah, well, we got the band kits that you can slam in the door, and they have like carabiners on them and handles, so you can do lots of different multiplanar movements.
No, they can get really nasty.
They get so nasty.
And then of course the way that the first band cycle we did, the first several weeks of quarantine, the thing I just educated you guys about, was...
Is that how you pronounce? I thought it was edumacated.
Quarantine. Was actually based off, at the time in the gym, we had just started a rugby cycle. And then we obviously couldn't do it because the world closed. So we adapted it into like the conditioning classes where we use a heavy object, which is varied for people. Some guy used a coffee table for weeks. It was wild.
That was great.
And then also with the strength program with the bands.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like you can get cut up and strong and like nasty with the bands.
Yeah.
Max, no excuses. Yeah, I think the bands,
give me an
what
Amazon
you're talking
link.
about nasty with the bands is that like, okay, I'm squatting and you recognize that like there are no more squats coming out of me. That's it. That's all. I'm done. But with the bands, it's always like you could do one more rep, and then you do it, and then it sucks.
For sure.
So that's cool though. I could do a live stream workout here in the same city as you, but like all of the fit heads now like remotely could be doing Phoenix Effect, which
have
they
you
should.
thought about how do you prove that someone's doing your live stream workout? Have you thought about...
Max is just gonna watch.
Yeah, because I've done that before.
I mean, on our Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, I did that for
if it's a Zoom,
meditation
yes, but
too. I watched other people meditate.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was doing she was doing like I forget what it was, but she was like, I'm doing this workout class, I'm hosting it, I guys gotta sign up. It's at 8 on Tuesday, and I get up at 8:30 normally. So I woke up, I set my alarm, I opened Instagram, I entered her Zoom class or her Instagram live, and then just went back to bed. because she had another viewer in the class, hey, we're doing it. So I'm wondering if you guys have thought about a way to accountability. How do you guys feel about accountability?
Sure.
Yeah, well, we use Zoom. So, and we have everybody turn their cameras on so we can give them corrections. They don't have to if they don't want to, but
They usually do.
yeah, they usually do. And it's a fully coached class where we're like, Sam, straighten out your back, like do this, do that. And we're like, it's an hour of coaching, and it's intense.
Oh no, everyone is constantly getting corrections. All the coaches are like, we need to see you from the side for these movements, or like move your camera down because I don't think you're touching your floor to the ground during that push-up, and you need to. Like everyone's still getting the same level of very customized, very relentless corrections and coaching that they were in real life too.
I know they're relentless. No, put it down. Okay, I'm sorry. Saving my life.
How dare you?
So then you have a variety of classes online too. What are you doing? Like, what are your thoughts on mobility and yoga, as I like to call it, ugly ballet with no music?
It's essential, right? So we actually have a whole class called Flawless, which is a combination of stretches. Some are from yoga, right? And then we also do mobility work with, foam roller, lacrosse ball. We actually have a 30-day mobility challenge on our on-demand program. So it's 15 minutes a day of 3 or 4 different mobilizations.
Okay, that's
recording that you can do with, because it's so important, right? It's like the little maintenance that you have to do on your body.
Yeah, 15 minutes seems like something I could handle, especially if it's like, check off the box today. Max is still working on touching his toes.
Almost there.
Great.
Really excited.
I'm about halfway down my shin.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it burns. And I stretch every night. It's so pathetic. I've never been able to do it. I literally, my whole life, I played sports. I was a real human being. But I've never been flexible at all. And I'm trying it, and I literally stretch every night while I'm like watching TV or whatever, and it just hurts so bad, and it makes me feel like I feel like a wooden chest, like creaking open.
But that's so good that you're doing that while you're watching TV. That's like the perfect time to do it.
Well, and it's especially good that you're working on something that is not helping your ego grow.
Yeah.
Like it's going against what your ego is like. We don't love this. We're not so good at it. Like leave it alone. You're like, no. We're doing this and we're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
Thank you. Compliments are always appreciated. Definitely doesn't help my ego at all.
All right, so how do the fit heads find you guys online? How can I go do this mobility class and sign up for all your stuffs?
Yeah, just have them go to our website, phoenixeffectla.com, and there's a little contact form. We can hook up all the fit heads we have actually really good special for the fit heads.
Ooh,
if they want to try it out. We usually do a 2-week trial for $99, but they get a whole month, and they can do as many online, on demand, or in-person classes that they want. So all they have to do is fill out the contact form and mention fit heads.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks. Oh yeah, and you both are fire on Instagram, so how do we find you there too?
Oh, thanks.
Well,
my handle. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. What is your name on Instagram?
Well, Kristin, which is my first name, Kristin, V, which also is the first letter of my last name. The word the, 1 ST. So my handle is at Kristin B the first.
Yeah. And mine is at Bishop PT. And then the Phoenix Effect is at the Phoenix Effect. Super easy.
Okay, cool. And if you're not on the YouTube video, go find it because I'll link to them down below. All right, thanks guys. This was awesome. Oh wait, we didn't do the one question.
Well,
we kind of touched on this already, but we ask all of our guests one question. Everyone gets the same one question. What are your thoughts
Pretend not.
on alcohol and fitness? Yeah.
Alcohol and fitness. You can do it. Don't expect to like be a boss the day after you binge drink, but you should also be a person and enjoy your life.
It's all about timing the nutrients and the supplements of alcohol around your workouts, right? So like I would not have a gainer shake before I lifted, just as I would not take my whiskey supplement before I lifted. However,
have you tried it?
Yeah, I mean my tolerance is like so low that I would hurt myself or other people. But I mean, like after when the day is done, you've gotten in the actual nutrients that you like definitely need, and you're making sure you're hydrating. Go for it.
Solid. Max, you agree?
Yeah, it sounded like you guys had a Jameson subscription, so I'm not sure.
We do. It's crazy. It's so crazy. It's wild. It just they keep coming.
Yeah, so weird.
Right.
No, we usually just ask that because we find that there are a lot of people like, no, you can't have abs if you have one Jameson. So it's like,
yeah, if you've ever had a beer ever, you're just
You're
a lazy slob.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if that's the attitude, then there might be deficiencies in other things being done. You know what I mean? Like if someone's like, well, if you do this small thing that normal people do and you just do it one time, you're fucked forever and your goals aren't happening, then whatever the hell you were doing to get to your goals probably isn't sufficient anyway.
I agree with the not all or nothing.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm a Libra, so I believe in balance.
Do not agree with talking about signs. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks again, guys. This was awesome. So good to catch up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come to.
So super fun.
Yeah.
Max, let's go do one of their outdoor classes too.
I'm gonna send me an Amazon link for some
Come on by,
bands.
guys.
Please do.
Sweet. Thanks. And thank you to the Fit Heads. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Oh, and rate and review us. We always forget to ask. And it's super helpful if you could. So please go on Apple and tell them that we're wonderful. Unless we're not, then I guess be honest. All right. See you next week.